Do you mind if I record? Is it okay with you if I record this call? Easier
Sure.
than me taking notes. Perfect. Thank you so much. So yeah, can you just talk me through what you saw, what you heard, sort of, what happened?
So basically it was around 12:30, I would say, in the morning.
Okay.
We were sitting in the ER very close to the entrance.
Mhm.
And we heard about 13 shots fired.
Wow.
There was a lot of people that were screaming, and the only people that were running were KU staff members. None of us in the emergency room were told what was going on. We just saw people running and hiding and ducking.
Was that concern? Go ahead. I'm sorry, not to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, keep going.
Was that concerning? Were you looking for someone to tell you, what to do?
Yeah, because nobody did. Even the security people were just like running, and they weren't running in the direction of the gunfire.
So the security people were running away from the gunfire. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Did you go ahead?
No, go ahead.
Did you see uniform police officers, or just like security guards with yellow vests, or what? What were they wearing?
The security people were wearing white shirts. There was police that came from KCK. There was KU police that showed up too. Once we were put in the emergency room, like the big waiting room, we could see on the other side of the hospital that they shut off all entrances. They were there till about 4 in the morning. We got back into the emergency room part, and the police were back here, and like some nurses were talking, some nurses weren't.
Mhm.
They just said that there was a person that had been shot outside, and then there was an officer that was off duty that was taking his a family member to the emergency room. He was like, "It looks like somebody was killed outside." And then a person walked out of the emergency room all pissed off, and they're like, if they won't let us leave, there's an active shooter on campus, and that's when everyone freaked out.
Wow.
And so after that happened, when we went back into the emergency room, we were in the middle of the part of it. In the room next to us, there was about 8 officers that were in there, standing outside of there.
I'm a little familiar with it. We're actually, myself and a colleague are near the hospital today, getting some shots for the newscast tomorrow. But so, in your estimation, how close were you from the doors where it happened?
About 700 yards.
Okay.
700 yards from where the shooting was.
Okay. Well, is there anything you would like to have, either the police or security or anyone to have done differently?
Yeah, they should have told us. I mean, there was kids that were in the waiting room, and they were just mainly concerned about their employees. They weren't concerned about any patients.
So just want to confirm, you didn't get any type of alert, nobody official came in and said, hey,
nurses,
you all need to hide.
I have friends that work here, and they said that they got a text message that said run, hide, and another word. But it was never given to any patients or whatever. They just said they couldn't talk about it. They couldn't talk about it. They couldn't talk about it. So yeah, we were kept out of the loop. There was people that were calling news stations from inside the hospital because they weren't letting us leave, but they wouldn't give us a reason why we couldn't leave. And they were like, yeah, there was a shooting outside, and that's how the majority of us, there's about 30 of us out there last night.
So they didn't, once the shooting started, did they take your statement or anything? But they kept you there, but did they
Nope.
So they kept you there, but they didn't, is it clear why?
No, they never said anything. They just said that it was a crazy night. We got here at 5. We waited almost 10 hours to be put into the back. And the whole entire time out there, they were just like, there was nothing. We just kept on seeing officer after officer. There was investigators. There was people with cameras, all sorts of fun stuff.
Could you estimate how many officers do you, and if you can't, that's okay, how many officers do you think you saw throughout the night?
Officers, including detectives?
Yes.
Over 20, 25 easily.
So a fairly heavy police response.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else you think I need to know? You're the first person I've talked to who's been that close in that proximity. I've talked to a few KU students who got the alert you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean, not really. I just think it's like pretty sad how I felt unsafe. I felt like they didn't care, for their patients. Especially if there was an active shooter and stuff, like there's a hospital supposed to take care of people instead of, putting us into a room or putting us in a hallway and having the doors locked or whatever. There wasn't that.
Wow.
I mean, we were legitimately in the middle of the hospital waiting room with 2 entrances that weren't guarded.
So
because they were too busy.
Just so I could get I've only been here once, and again, I'm from Lawrence, so I'm sorry if this sounds stupid, but so you went in did you go in the emergency room entrance? There's like a ramp, and then it says there's a big emergency department sign. That's the door you went in?
Yep.
And then, so I obviously haven't shot inside. I haven't gone to the emergency department here. So you walk in and there's a lobby. Is that where you were kept, or did you?
You walk in and there's a hallway that has a metal detector in it. One metal detector, with 2 glass doors, and there's 1 security guard. And then once you go through the metal detector, then you can open up the door, and then it's just a big emergency room door. So like, there's a nurse's station. There is like urgent care kind of for like the non-critical people.
Oh, sure.
And then on the other side, there's a door that you have to have an access key to get into. That's to like the ER part. And then if you go straight back, then there are automatic doors that have the big, massive, like, waiting room.
So it's those larger glass doors that separate. Is that what separates you, where you were kept from the street entrance or the main lobby?
Correct. Like, you could still see out into the street.
Okay. So could you, conceivably from where you were, could you have seen the incident if you were looking, or no? Just so
yes.
I can. You could have. Okay. So you heard you said about 13 shots, and then
they said that they didn't tell us anything about like any threats per se, because they didn't tell us anything, but it was more of a when they said that 1 person died in the lobby, and it was considered a homicide, and that was it. And then they said,
who told you that? Sorry, not to cut you off.
That is what one of the patients said.
So not someone official from the hospital, from the police department. It's just
correct.
Okay.
Nobody from the hospital or police department said anything
throughout the entire night.
No. After things calmed down, there was a couple nurses that told us what happened. So when I came into the emergency room, the next room over from me was where one of the shooting victims were.
Oh wow! So you
there was 6 police officers that were in front. There was a detective that was taking pictures of the person, and there was 2 homicide detectives too.
Do you happen to have any? Did you take any pictures or any videos or anything like that?
I did not take any of that because they told us not to be on our phones.
Oh, they told you not to be on your phone.
In fact, what they did was when the shooting happened and it was on Facebook, it was really weird. Like, I have a screenshot of it. It said that you couldn't comment on any threads anymore. It was like they completely blocked everyone from the internet.
Who told you shouldn't be on your phone?
That's what one of the nurses outside said to us, is don't be on your phones and stuff. And just keep them. They're just like, don't touch anything. Don't touch your phone or anything.
So you're all.
They were trying to keep it very quiet.
Oh, so in like an active shooter situation, you'd obviously want to be quiet and not draw attention to yourself. That am I getting the right idea?
Yeah.
Wow.
But they didn't give us a reason why. They just said don't do it.
And that was that they told you not to be on your phone or just to be quiet. Was that how long after you heard the shots until they told you that?
It was about maybe 5 minutes. It was before 12:40, And then we were still having to be quiet and really not do anything. They wouldn't let us leave. They wouldn't let people come in. And that was probably a good 3 or 4 hours.
Wow. Okay.
And the only reason how I found out about the homicide in the front was because I had to call the news. I had to call KUJH-TV 5 and ask what was going on.
So KUJH-TV 5 actually told you what the situation was.
Correct.
Before the police.
And then on Twitter, around 12:40, that's when the Kansas City, Kansas owner or police chief tweeted out that there was a homicide that was being investigated.
If you could ask we're actually trying to speak to the police right now. We're actually in their building. If you could ask the police, one question or a couple questions, what would you want to ask them?
Why weren't we as citizens aware of the situation, especially since there were kids in the room?
What was the kids? Are we talking like little kids?
We're talking all like newborn all the way up to almost 17. I mean, there was a lot of people in there.
How many, I think you may have said this, how many people do you think, and I apologize for cutting you off, I have a million
35.
questions. Wow, okay.
Easily. There was people that were brought in from ambulances that were being put into the waiting room right as the shooting was happening. And then there was people that have been waiting there since 4 in the afternoon. They weren't letting anybody go past, like go in, and they weren't letting anybody go, like leave.
Wow.
The other question that I would have for them is, don't you think that if you were connected to KU's Wi-Fi, why weren't we given that text message?
Very good question. Yeah, no, you're right. On the same network and everything.
You're right. If we're on the same network and even though we're not employees, why weren't we given that same treatment?
Right number. Yeah, that's interesting. I can try to get that answer for you. We've tried to talk to the Med Center police who apparently responded. We've also we're going to try to talk to the KCK police. We've spoken with the hospital. We're not getting a lot of answers, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time. Is it okay if I have any questions later tonight, tomorrow? Is it okay to call you back? Is it better to text you?
Yeah.
Facebook? What's the best?
Give me a call. Give me a Facebook message. Give me a text.
Okay, perfect. I will do that for you.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. No,